Peace, diehards. Welcome to another episode of the Knicks podcast. We're going to be talking about Drummond to the Knicks, man. What do you guys think about that? It's a lot of pros and cons to the whole thing, man. But I'll talk about it. I'm gonna have a couple guests later on in the show, but before we get that started, man, I just want to show I'm not wearing my usual diehard Knicks hat, man. You see my man here? That's this painting here is made by Black Design Media. You can follow them on Instagram, Black Design Media. They do a whole bunch of graphic design stuff, man. He's a really good artist. So he was able to send this to me, man. So I really appreciate it, man. So while we're talking about that, man, let me just pop this in here. I actually have a merch site. So the merch site has been up for several years, even before I started doing the podcast on YouTube. It's been up for a while. So every once in a while I drop something in there, man. So just to throw it here, you can see the I have that image on the thing there. Also have the hat that I'm actually wearing at the moment. A couple other things too, stuff that I just do in there throughout the months and years and stuff, just for fun for myself. But if anybody was interested, man, all you got to do is go to diehardknicks.com. Diehardknicks.com, no special characters and stuff like that, and you'll be able to pull up that website and see everything that's going on, man. So they got the light going on here, but that's like the Diehard Knicks emblem there. It's a dope hat, typical stuff, man. But if anybody wants to support that way, you can go ahead and do that. Yeah, man. So also while I'm here, man, Diehard Knicks is also being sponsored by Manscaped. So if you go to manscaped.com and put in promo code diehard20, you'll be able to get 20% off and free shipping, man. So this is actual stuff they sent me. You can see the background there. They actually sent me this stuff, and I've been using it. And this it's the razors are supposed to be for your private parts and stuff like that, or just whatever you got hair in, man. The older you get, the more the crazier your hair is. But I've actually used it for my head. Not the same razor that I use on my balls, man. I bought two of them. So I got one for my nuts and everything else, and then I got one for my head, man. So the one on the head actually is pretty good. So if you just wanted to get that for that purpose, you can do that. Anyway, just throwing it out there. That's go to manscaped.com, put in promo code diehard20. You can see that link in the bio and also in the comments there. So anyway, let's get busy, man. We're gonna be talking about Andre Drummond. And the funny thing about Andre Drummond, just to start it off, is that like he puts up, he's one of the bigger guys in the NBA. He definitely is going to get you rebounds. He's definitely going to give you inside points and stuff like that. And he's been expanding his game. But I just wanted to show this really quick. People are funny, man, but this is absolutely true. Make sure I'm showing you the correct one. I believe it's this one, right? Let me just make sure that's what it is. Yeah, it says NBA scouts rip Andre Drummond. He can get you 20, 30 and 20 and have no impact on the game. Now, how true is that, man? Like we played them a couple times, the last time we played them, he had almost no impact. I feel like the Knicks were able to neutralize him. He wasn't really able to get off the way that he normally does. But, right now, the way the NBA plays, if he gets the ball inside, especially the team that doesn't have a real center, he's just going to bully them. He's going to get his little points and stuff. But, what makes that cool with the Knicks is just that the Knicks are playing a style of basketball that's different from the NBA. We've been trying to pound it on the inside. Pause. We got Julius Randle kind of playing in the pinch post kind of thing. We're sending guys inside. We're sending Alfred to the basket. We're sending RJ to the basket. Basically in the same way. Andre Drummond, Julius Randle is doing the ball handling up top. He's watching shooters in the corners, and that's how we've been playing. We've been expanding it a little bit, sending guys actually further into the corners. We've been playing 1, 2, 3, 4 corners and having the guy up top doing his thing. So add Andre Drummond to that mix. He gives something that our guy Mitchell Robinson doesn't do. Mitchell Robinson is not a factor scoring the ball on the inside. So we can ignore Andre Drummond, and just have him play the same way that Mitch has been playing. But the simple fact is when Drummond gets the ball in certain spots, the same spots that Mitch will get, instead of forcing a pass here, forcing a pass there, he can actually put the ball on the floor and actually finish. And he's going to rebound. Mitchell Robinson hasn't really been showing that he can rebound. The last game he did, I think that was his biggest rebound game for the year, but he ended up breaking his hand. So there might be like a gift to us to let other guys get a chance, and also opens the door for Andre Drummond to come in and take that starting center spot at least for a year, and we'll be able to bring Mitchell Robinson to give us that balance, just the different look. Because Noel has been pretty good. I don't want to shit on Noel, but having Noel in the mix as another guy that we could throw in there is good too. So especially for when the playoffs start, if we need somebody to come in and hurt somebody, not to like injure them. We're just talking about like get up in there and just use fouls and that type of thing. We can have that extra guy that really could play, and we could put him in there, get some like little energy minutes to kind of like spark guys and stuff. We can play that game as time goes on. So I think I think all this is it's a good idea. As far as thing, but that is true, man. Andre Drummond, with all the stats and stuff that he does, a lot of times, what he does doesn't really impact what's going on a basketball court. So before we get into the meat of this whole thing, let's just see what's going on here in Twitter with the different reports and stuff. So we'll start off here. This is just a basic search, a Drummond search here. And right now, Wojnarowski, they're just talking about that Cleveland's looking to trade him. They no longer plan on playing him. So he's going to be sitting on the bench until he gets traded. So he's definitely out of here. March 25th is the trade deadline. Shams is saying the same thing. They engaged in talks with Toronto. Okay, Toronto's cool. Toronto has a lot of young players that they can package up and send to Cleveland. But the thing is, Cleveland has a full roster of young guys too, a lot of young bigs and stuff. So do they even have the space for that? I know they got Kevin Love too. So Kevin Love could be a guy that they ship off to make room. But they got to ship him off too. They're not going to ship him off for nothing. And the difference between Drummond and Love is that Love still has a couple more years on his contract. Drummond is a free agent after this year. So they have a lot to think about. If they're going to start making these trades, what are they going to do about all these young guys? They're going to have to do something with them. So maybe the Knicks could on the secondary thing be there to absorb some of these young guys that they have, absorb some of these contracts, because we have the money to do so. Absorb these contracts and maybe get rid of some of the guys that we have, or maybe just flat out step in over Toronto because the Knicks do have $14 million. So let's get into those numbers there. The Knicks have $14 million now after the Rose trade. That number it was 18 at one point, right? So then it went all the way down to 14 now because we the different roster moves we made. Add Taj Gibson and the Derrick Rose trade, so our numbers are a little bit down. So let's say about 14 million if I'm not mistaken. So we got 14 million to add on to that. So let's do this other Twitter share that I was looking at here. Just talks about the numbers. It's my man Bobby Marks, of course, is my man. Pause. Everybody says that's my man, but meanwhile, I'm just quoting something from Twitter. So Bobby Marks, man, he's like a former GM and stuff. This is what he says: the trade value of Andre Drummond has everything to do with his $28 million contract, and less about his play on the court. Absolutely. So Cleveland would take back $23 million in contracts, which is a big obstacle right now. I just explained that they have a lot of guys on their roster. They have a lot of good young players, so they can't just take back $23 million of salary and contracts because they don't have anywhere to do with these people. Because like I said, they're gonna have to get rid of Kevin Love, and like I said, Kevin Love still has a couple more years left on his contract. So if they move Kevin Love, where do they put all these people? They're only allowed to keep a certain amount of people on the roster. So if they take back, let's say 3 or 4 contracts just to make the money work, or it could be 2 contracts. Even if it's 2, you still got to trade Kevin Love. He might bring 2 more contracts. So where did these guys go? So that's the whole thing with the Knicks, man. The Knicks if they come into the mix, they can actually drop that $14 million on them, and they can take back fewer contracts. So what's 23 minus 14? If you could do the math for that, we're talking about 9 million, right? So 9 million of contracts, just off the head, Nick's salary. I guess I could pull that up. I should have queued that before I started, but let's just look up Nick's salary. So when I'm looking up Nick's salary, we could just think about it right off the bat. Kevin Knox is definitely a player that's going to be in the mix, for a trade like this, because we're just not using him. Not necessarily that we don't like him. It's just that we have other players. We have Reggie Bullock that does what he does. We got Alec Burke that does what he does as well. So we don't have to cry about keeping the guys like that, because we still have our draft picks too, right? So next year we're gonna end up getting another young guy to fill in the spot that Kevin Knox had. So it's not even worth crying about it. So let's pull up the Knicks payroll. So this is just basketball reference, and it's just talking. Let me just pull a little closer so you guys can see. So this is like a rough thing here about what we owe. Not what we owe, what these players are owed, I should say. So let's look at it. We got for next year. We have RJ Barrett. We definitely not trading RJ Barrett. Obi Toppin, maybe. Kevin Knox is worth 5.8. You got Austin Rivers is still there. There's 33, and he also like a non-guaranteed contract. What's that? Five plus three. That's 9 right there because you're talking about 5.8 and 3.3. So add Kevin Knox and Rivers to that mix. For Andre Drummond because we're gonna throw the salary on there, and of course we're probably gonna have to give them a first round draft pick. So it could be a draft pick down the line, maybe 2023's draft pick. It doesn't have to be ours. It could be Dallas's pick, depending on what we feel like doing, or it could be this year's pick, which I don't really want to do. So it could be a future pick. So I mean, like they're just trying to get rid of Andre Drummond. They're not trying to like do anything to make the playoffs or whatever. And then plus they already know they have a bunch of guys that they don't have use for. I mean not use for. They just have so many guys that they just can't get rid of. So it's just they just can't get rid of those guys. They would have to package them to trade them in order to make this stuff work. So it gets too complicated. So the Knicks makes it way more easier. So just like I said, Kevin Knox and Austin Rivers, maybe a future first round draft pick to Cleveland for Drummond, and that's the deal. So what does everyone think about that? It's something that's not so crazy because everyone goes crazy. Oh man, I don't want to give this up. I don't want to give this up. But what are we really giving up? And also, the thing around the league is that Andre Drummond puts up these numbers, and he's not really that impactful in the game. Unless you already have guys doing something. So like I was saying, that's what makes it a nice piece for the Knicks. Because the Knicks are already doing something. We already have things established. We don't necessarily need Andre Drummond, to tell you the truth. We could just rock how we've been rocking, but we do need something. We do need that extra spice to help us get to the next spot. So we're talking about Derrick Rose. You brought Derrick Rose in here. What was the purpose of bringing Derrick Rose? We got all these other guys. The argument was we're going to take minutes from Quickly. We're going to take minutes from this guy. I don't understand what's going on. Is he going to start over Elfrid? All right, a couple days later, now we're all seeing that Derrick Rose was freaking perfect because now he just made us one of the most deadly benches coming off the bench right now. Sparkers, these Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickly, Obi, and Noah have come off the bench and are becoming great sparks. Leading us, being able to, like I said, the first unit does one thing, the second unit comes in and it's just like a whole different ball game. So anyway, we play games back and forth, but that that first unit, we're more of a bully style of our basketball. We got Elfrid, who's a nice defender. Great, I'm gonna say great. He's a nice defender. He's been doing his thing, shutting guys down for the most part. Then you add some of these other guys in here, like Mitchell Robinson was doing his thing defending. Then you add Reggie Bullock. He defends, he can shoot, whatever. But it's just like, how do we make those guys better? So, like I said, obviously. Mitchell Robinson's ability to score, just to score, period. That's something that we just need. Like, let's say, like I was saying earlier, if Mitchell Robinson happens to get the basketball, he's not looking to put the ball on the floor to do whatever. He's looking to pass it. If Drummond gets the ball in the same position, he's going to be able to make a play, whether it is scoring or it is, actually making a nice pass to somebody, because Drummond can actually pass the ball pretty good. So this is something that we can actually, get better, in a very small way without giving up so many assets, man. So anyway, I just sent the link out to the guys and they came through like the freaking, what do you call the bat signal? So we got some guys here. I'm going to drop them in. I love their smiles, man. I love saying stupid stuff to make these guys smile because everybody's laughing in the chat here. So let me just clean it up for them real nice here. Sanitize, it's COVID. I got the hand sanitizer, bootleg hand sanitizer. Me just throw it all over the screen and stuff so these guys don't get sick. So let's drop these guys in here. We got my man Tony Crow is here. We got Andy is here, and some guy that you guys may have heard of. I've seen him before. This Mr. Simeon Russell here. What's up, guys?
What's going on, man?
What up?
What up, chat?
Did you guys hear anything that I was saying, or do we have to start from the top?
I caught a little bit of it.
Yeah, me too.
All right,
No,
so
I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it.
all right, so like the gist of it is like we're talking about Andre Drummond. So we already know that Andre Drummond puts up these numbers. A lot of times he doesn't really impact the game, but that's no here nor there. They're talking about trading them to Toronto and all these other teams. So what I was saying was that they have to actually trade $23 million worth of salary back to Cleveland. And Cleveland has nowhere to dump these guys because they already have a roster full of guys that they really can't get rid of. Just go down the line. They got like 47 centers behind Drummond already, and they got Kevin Love still. If they get rid of Kevin Love, they're gonna have to take back salary as well. So they're gonna need a break from somebody, and the Knicks are that break. They got $14 million in the stash, from just sitting there. So 23 minus 14 is 9. So you're talking about Kevin Knox and what I was saying, Austin Rivers. Austin Rivers a non-guaranteed contract. So you're talking about Kevin Knox, Austin Rivers, and maybe like a future draft pick, like a 2023 first round draft pick, and that will be the deal for Andre Drummond. So that's the gist of everything that I said. So what do you guys think about that?
I think salary wise, we could easily do it. I just don't know if it's the right move for the Knicks right now. And that's nothing against Drummond. I think Drummond is a phenomenal player. He gives you a double-double. He can play defense, and he definitely adds and boosts the team. I just feel like long-term, well, let me not say long-term. I feel like the biggest thing that we need right now is another guy that can really a wing player that can defend and go out and get a bucket. And that's where I would be hoping, I would be putting my energy towards that before Andre Drummond, because that's where I would want to use my trade capital.
All right, so let me see what Tony got to say. What's up, Tony?
What's going on? If we could somehow include maybe a second round or 2 second-round picks and keep Knox and maybe go with a Frank and something like that, I think I would do that more so.
What you got, Andy?
I like the idea.
Well, I'm gonna see probably fans justify trading for Drummond because Mitch is hurt, right? But taking the chemistry wise and stuff like that, I don't think he's gonna fit perfectly with this team we got going now. So if it's for a future second round pick, I could think about it. But I'm not giving up neither Frank, neither Knox for it because I rather stash them as prospects than give up a prospect even for Andre Drummond type. Thinking about his long tenure here because I think he's gonna opt out, maybe even out of the contract if he gets a promise from someone else, right? But to your point, like you said, the Cavs are gonna need a third team if they're gonna want to deal with the Raptors. So we can swoop in there and not even in the Drummond part, we can just take a guy from the Raptors that they want to ditch on the Cavs, right? So Norman Powell type. I don't know who they got, a Stanley Johnson. So some of those second, third tier guys that they don't basically play, but could maybe have a role on the Knicks.
I got you. But one point about the style of play, just I see guys talking about chemistry in the chat and stuff. But I mean, like just the manner in which Mitch plays. A lot of times when Mitch gets the ball, he's kind of stuck. He's looking to give the ball back up. So in those matters, when Drummond gets the ball, he won't be stuck. He'll be able to put the ball on the floor. He'll be able to make a better pass. He'll be able to do something active to help out what we're doing. So I'm just thinking of the way that that Rose came here. A lot of people were saying the same thing. How does Rose come in here and make the team better? Now a couple of days later, we could see exactly what he did to make the team better. So just trying to make better what we're doing. As a Knicks team, because I'm looking at the bully ball. We're playing bully ball, man. So we kind of need Randall to get a little bit of help, somebody to help him, fight a little bit stronger. And not saying that Mitch isn't doing his job. Mitch is doing his job, but just another little element because it's a tiny bump, But the bump is better rebounding. Like I said, an active offensive player to be able to do little things like that. So that's where I'm looking at it.
Yeah. And look, I have no doubt in my mind that Andre Drummond makes us a better team. and things that we do. I just don't know if that's the biggest need right now. I mean, obviously Mitchell Robinson is out, so people are going to say, well, we're missing our starting center, but he's due back in 4 to 6 weeks. Nerlens Noel and Taj Gibson, I think they can man the fort until he comes back. You could probably add a low rate center as an insurance policy. I just think that now he does add some scoring punch because he can post up, score in the post. He can still he doesn't get as vertically high as Mitch, but he can he can get high. He can catch the oop. He can shoot it a little bit from the mid range. So he does add those elements to the game. Not even saying he doesn't. My only fear is, and I'm not even talking about some of these other guys coming available like a Beal or Zach LaVine, because they're probably not. But just going into the future, having the picks and the young players to be able to trade for one of those guys that comes available. Because somebody, if it's not this year, within the next, year or two, a wing, I think, is going to come available, in my opinion. So, I'm trying to save my draft capital, my trade capital for that type of player. I'm not opposed to adding Andre Drummond if it was, on a different kind of deal or something like that, though, because he definitely makes your solidifies the center spot and gives you a all-star caliber guy at the center spot that's going to, improve your team.
Well, I mentioned the 14 million, right? So I did mention Knox and Austin Rivers. These are two guys that are not playing right now. Nobody wants Austin Rivers on the roster anymore. We got 14 million to play with, and then Knox. Tony mentioned Frank Ntilikina or somebody else because you want to keep Knox. My argument with that is that we're still going to keep the next 2 draft picks next year for 2020. I mean for this draft 2021. So those guys can easily sit where take Kevin Knox's locker next year. And then we still have money, so whatever we clean up with this roster, we're not really impacting the salary cap so much. We're talking about like a future first round draft pick. So I mean, in the offseason, we still can put ourselves in the market for say somebody like a Kawhi, because that's what my man Uncle Fulio was talking about. Getting him. I'm trying to convince you guys, man. So you got I need that counter argument.
It's not gonna happen with that Josh statement. It's not gonna happen with that Josh statement, bro.
with the Josh take, you said?
Josh is gonna swap into to Westbrook just after the season.
Oh my God. What you gonna say, Tom?
No, I'm with it. I think getting him now, if the cost is low, and knowing it may be a rental. I mean, I prefer him agreeing to maybe a 2-year extension at a reasonable price. I do, but I think he puts us right where we want to be. I have a little bit of concern because I think that puts Mitch to the bench, and I think Mitch fits better with the bench. I just don't know where his mind is as far as going to the bench. But I think that would be a more dynamic second unit, and we already see how fast they are and how they play together. I think he would fit way better in that second unit, probably get more opportunities as well, and it solidifies our first unit. So I'm with it. If the cost is low.
Right, but I mean, you can't get no lower than Knox and Austin Rivers, or anybody else in Austin Rivers for that matter. You know what I'm saying? I got my man here, Fritz. Get Andy.
Yeah, I just want to point out, like Fritz said, if he didn't pick up he didn't take the 23 million per season, right, and he declined it, he's basically telling the guys that either he doesn't want no role on that squad, or he's gonna go for the money. And if he's going to go for the money, the all capital we accumulated to get free agents, we're going to give up for Andre Drummond. Is that our player that's going to put us over the top? Because that's the question. This is why we were, it's called working out and doing the whole rebuild stuff so we can have cap space and young talent and picks, right? We have the young talent, we have the picks, we have the cap space. If we go in on Drummond, there's not going to be that much of that cap space left when you think
Right.
about it.
You're gonna have to pay him.
I mean, it really depends. He's a New York kid. He may take a lesser money and more years. You never, you know what I mean. You never really know.
Or check it like if once he comes on the team, the Knicks are gonna be pounding cats. No rainbow. So they might get a chance to show the league that they can actually play. Play this style of play, whatever. It might be something that he might love. He might love to play with Randall. He might love to play the style of play with Tom Thibodeau. So this might be something, but like, yo, I want to stay. Do what you got to do to make it stay. Because I mean, like, if you don't do anything, the Knicks are gonna have $50 million to play with. So if Drummond comes in there, you're talking about taking 20 something mil off there, maybe 30, because I mean, depending on these guys, they say one thing, but they'll say a next thing. But I mean, the Knicks can still maneuver some kind of way to make room for somebody else to come on over. Or like Tony said, guys have done it in the past where they take a little bit less just to squeeze another guy in there. So once you start doing that, the ball starts rolling in our favor. The same way like the Nets, all of a sudden they got three of like the best offensive players in the NBA. How did they do that? You have to set the table. Whatever if the Knicks, it's not necessarily going all in because I only mentioned giving up a future draft pick and guys that are not in the rotations, but like Rivers. So it's not like we're giving up so much, because it's $14 million not being spent. So we're adding a player basically for nothing. To make a push to really like show the league that we're here now. We're here. So, going into next season, getting those 2 draft picks from this draft, that's probably going to be high and good quality players due to the staff that we have, and adding that and all this other stuff. Some of these free agents, because it's only really Kawhi. I think Kawhi is the only one that's really available. That's like high caliber like that. So if he's there looking, he might say, "Yo, let me go see if my uncle wants a roommate for the next year or so."
But see, I would rather use that $15 million. I'd rather use it to try to go after like a Terrence Ross.
Terrence Ross.
That could be, he makes $14 million a year. He averages 20 points per game. He can shoot it from 3. He plays defense. He's a dynamic type of guard that I think you could move into that starting unit where Reggie Bullock is and be next to RJ, that could still play defense and then still and boost that scoring, that punch that you need, and one of those guys that can draw some more attention from the guard spot, playing, coming down the stretch. Then of course you got to make some moves in the second unit. We would, see what that would be like. Because then, who knows, you might have to give up. I don't know what kind of draft picks you would have to give up, or if Orlando would even be interested in doing something like that. But that's where, I would like to, appropriate that $15 million. And he's still on a 2-year contract. So like you'd have him this year and then you'd have him next year. And then his contract is up the same time the Randall's contract is up. So, you have that chance to make a decision on whether or not, is it working? How do you want to make the move? So it all coincides with the same, at the same time. You know what I mean?
Well, I get that. You see Fritz here, he added Harrison Barnes to the thing. Now, I've been looking at these guys too, because if you comb the league, these are the names that you come up with. You come up with Terrence Ross and you come up with Harrison Barnes. Now, Harrison Barnes is basically doing what RJ does. So there's the same type of thing. We're going to have a guy on the roster that's still got time left on the contract that's going to be playing basically the same way that RJ is. And now you put yourself in a spot where you might have to make another move. Same thing with Ross. Ross is another bump or whatever. But like you mentioned, he's still got a couple more years left on the contract. So that adds a couple little subplots down the line where we will have to make a move to add some other guys. Terrence Ross, he's there. He finishes in 2022. But, you got Burks and you got Reggie Bullock, who their contract expires at the end of the season. So you would have him for at least another season. You'd have to make a decision about those guys.
based on everything that happened in the off season. I don't know. I don't know about what the Knicks, if they're even interested or would be looking to try to make a move towards Andre Drummond. It just seems like you might, I don't know how much you got to give. I don't even know what his value is worth right now, on the market. Cleveland is trying to create some a bidding war for him. I kind of feel like he's going to end up, Toronto, I guess. I feel like he could end up in Boston because they're looking for a big guy to replace Al Horford. That might be a sweet spot for him there.
But how do these guys make these trades though? How does Boston make that trade? Because I saw a few of them where they were throwing, what's the guy Kemba? They were throwing Kemba in the mix. They're throwing a couple other guys in the mix. How do they make that move? And then what does Cleveland do with all these players now? Because if you look at Cleveland's roster, they're not a good team, but they got a bunch of players that are decent that you just can't say, right, I'm just gonna just get rid of this guy, because these guys are decent guys that can help somebody.
Yeah, well, I guess you can get three teams involved, but how some teams always wait until the buyout market said, let's see what happens on the buyout market, because at the trade deadline you get all these trades that happen, and then inevitably you get a bunch of guys that get bought out. Right. So there could be some guys thrown into the trade that could get bought out. You look at Boston. I have no idea what they could. How they could make it work, or I don't know what their draft picks look like either. They got Tristan Thompson, who makes $9 million. Daniel Tice makes $5 million. That's $14 million right there. And if they got some other teams involved, they try to help find a way to move cap space around. I don't know.
Well, let's throw that in there. So, like a third team, somebody that can absorb contracts. That's definitely the Knicks.
That's the Knicks, right?
All right. So, does anybody, does your mouth water for any of these guys that we potentially could suck? There's so many like suspect words that I'm using here, man. But like that we could take away from that Cleveland roster. Like, sorry for any children that's watching, man. I have literally have like a dirty mind. I can't get these words out of my mouth, man. So. Tony was about to say something. What were you going to say, Tony?
No, actually, I was trying to say exactly what you got up from Hilton Murphy. If you throw Mo Bamba in that Terrence Rush trade, and I think I could work with that.
That's lovely right there.
That gives us more competition at center and an immediate need and two immediate needs. So yeah. I definitely work something that way, absorbing Ross, and then whatever we got to work out for Mo Bamba. Maybe they want Frank. They got point guard needs still.
True.
And we could call it. We could call it a night.
Well, call it even. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I would love that. That'd be nice right there, because I like Mo Bamba. You know what I mean? Yeah. That'd be a nice move for the Knicks. If they could pull off something like that. I have no idea if Orlando even wants to move Terrence Ross, but that'd be nice.
Yeah. There's really not really too many moves that could be done as far as like the Knicks that will help us. Because like I said, it just brings us right to Terrence Ross. It brings you right to guys like Harrison Barnes and stuff like that. If you call him, because nobody else is really available. Nobody's really that we could just take away from a team that the team doesn't need. Let's say like the Bulls. People keep talking about Zach LaVine, but I think just judging off of Bulls fans and just the way that they do their media and stuff, they think Zach LaVine is like their Jordan. They kind of don't want to get rid of him. So I think somebody like him is definitely off the table. I'm just saying that just for an example. Just looking around the league or how we can get better. What are you gonna say, Andy? I see Andy bobbing.
Yeah, I'm listening. That's why I'm bobbing. But like you guys said, I think that there's not many of these guys that we would actually like that are available. Atlanta has John Collins on the market apparently, but I think he's more of a high-profile player than a Mo Bamba. Question is, do we really need a John Collins? I think he's more of a 4, and we got Julius there. And if we plug in a John Collins, then I think then when Obi is going to get those minutes. So I'm not quite sure about that guy. But I think the closer to the deadline we're gonna get, there's gonna be more guys on the market as usually, because teams are gonna in like 10, 15 games, they're still gonna they're gonna have that route for them. Either it's tanking or it's playoffs or it's we're just gonna stick it out, right? So we're gonna have more of a market closer to the March deadline, right?
Yeah. What are you gonna say? I see you pointing and stuff. What's going
Um,
on?
I see it. We were talking about Andre Drummond. That was one of the reasons why I was thinking like, yeah, he really would go to Boston. Hinton Murphy just pointed out Boston has that trade exception
Yeah, after
for
going
Gordon
Hayward, yeah.
Hayward. And that trade exception fits right into that trade exception is like $28.5 million. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that pays for Andre Drummond right there. Boom.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, on the flip side, let's say if they was to get Drummond for that reason, here's the flip side to this trade. If they get Andre Drummond, that don't scare me. I'm talking about getting Andre Drummond to help the Knicks out, but if Boston was to get Andre Drummond, I'm not scared of that. That to me that if we face Boston, I'm not gonna be worried about Andre Drummond. I feel like we still could compete against them. That's how
I mean,
that's how I'm
think
living.
we can compete, but they gonna be nice. I think we can compete, but I think they're gonna be nice. Whoo! I think they would be tough, man.
I get it.
I
But
think they would be real tough. Jaden Brown, Jason Tatum,
Kemba.
Kemba, and then you got Marcus Smarts that can beast it out defensively, and then you got Andre Drummond, man, in the boards and banging down low. They'd be tough.
yeah, man, but we got Julius Randle, we got this guy, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna do this, that, and the other. They ain't got nothing on us, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I mean, the whole purpose of like doing podcasts like this is just trying to figure out how we're gonna get better, man. I know we can just do nothing. We can do nothing, and that'll be the good move too. That'll be the right move to do. But I feel like our guys definitely deserve like just some help. Terrence Ross would be dope. Like my man keeps saying, Harrison Barnes. We didn't really talk about him. Harrison Barnes to me is a big goof. He does shoot 40% from three, but a lot of times he gets kind of stuck where he like driving to the basket and he'll just lose the basketball or things of that nature. So he's kind of a scary kind of dude, to add to the team. We're talking about like chemistry and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So is there anything out there that you think that we can do outside of the people that we mentioned?
I don't know anything that's out there. Anything else that's out there for real? Like realistically out there. I don't know.
Anything on your mind? Yeah, good.
As far as the center position, I think the best way we could go, talking about the Mitch injury, right? I think it would be perfectly if we would get Tyson Chandler off the free agent market.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna be a vet. He's not gonna complain about minutes. If he's gonna get minutes, he's gonna get those. You can just sign him to a 2-month contract, whatever. So that will be perfect thing. And he's a pro. You know what you're gonna get from him, and he's not gonna be complaining. He's on the last legs of his career, so he's gonna take anyone you're gonna throw at him. And even in practice, if you want to leave him, on the roster thing, he can practice with the big guys. Both of them, I'm not talking about Taj learning from Tyson Chandler, right? But I think Mitch and Nerlens can easily learn from Tyson Chandler's defense. He got some experience under his belt, so.
Yeah, I had to pull out the hand sanitizer because I don't want you to infect me with that Tyson Chandler stuff, man. I'm just not a fan of Tyson Chandler. Tyson Chandler is just not my cup of tea. I'd rather drink something else.
Hey, Ebro, I tell you what, man, that's not a bad take, man. I take Tyson as well. You don't lose a single asset. I mean, it's the exception of you're gonna have to release a player. So I guess depending on who you release, but also the fact that he couldn't score the board coming into the league. The ball, I think he could teach Mitch a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like
Tyson Chandler?
Yes.
Tyson Chandler. I'm thinking of is this the right Chandler? Tyson Chandler is the one that we used to.
He used to play for the Knicks.
Okay,
Yeah.
are we talking about the small forward, or the center? Not Wilson
The
Chandler.
center.
Oh, the
So
center.
we're talking about Tyson Chandler is going to teach somebody how to make an offensive score offensively.
Hey, he
Nah,
learned
maybe.
how to score the ball outside of just lobs and offensive rebounds.
You remember, he started shooting that little mid-range shot every once in a while.
Yeah,
The free throw line extended.
I mean that's
Yeah.
a jump shot. I mean, anybody can learn how to shoot a jump shot. I don't think Tyson's going to
He
teach
was
him.
making them.
We
He
still
started making
waiting
them when
on
he was with the
Knicks.
Knicks. Yeah, we still waiting on that, man.
And you
And
don't, you know
remember,
what I mean?
Mavs got a ring with him in the roster.
Oh my God, that's why we made those trades to get Tyson here, man.
See, I don't want to talk about those Knicks and bruises.
Yeah, I mean that's for Tony's show. Knicks, hey everybody, get out there, go find Knicks and Bruises on YouTube, man. So you can just bring your own thing of Kleenex, man, so you could join in the tears on that.
That's a deep wild episode. Episode.
Tyson Chandler, man. If he wasn't so tall, I think I would square up with him, man. I used to hate Tyson Chandler, man. He used to drive me crazy. A lot of times, like he was supposed to be like this defender guy, and a lot of times, like somebody like so many guys sail past him for him to be a defensive player, man. I don't know. I just don't want to make this into like a Tyson Chandler.
You got to think of it as vet minimum now. It's the vet minimum now.
Vet minimum, $2 million or something like that. Or you could just get Joakim Noah out of retirement.
We're still paying him, right?
Still paying him.
For this year, next year, you can get him out and make him do something.
Yeah.
Euro, you rather have Timothy Mozgov than Tyson Chandler?
Timothy Mozgov. So some of these guys' names just brings back such great memories, man.
He's running around somewhere in Russia, bro. Chasing bears around the.
That's what I was about to say. Is Mozgov still playing?
Yeah. He's playing in Russia, I think.
Oh my God!
You gotta be careful putting things in the air. Talk about Joakim Noah. We got Tibbs and he bringing the band back together, man. So,
man, tell me about it.
Yeah, but I
Lil Dang, bro. Don't mention those names.
Oh my God, Lil Dang. I was gonna say something crazy. Let me just keep that to myself. But I mean,
Ronnie Brewer.
Jesus Christ. So I mean, this just turned into like it's turned into like a what do you want to say, like a self-help class now, like hi, my name is Iru and I'm a Nickaholic, we just going around whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So Sam, when are you doing your show? You doing it at 3:30?
3:30. Yep.
All right, man.
Yep.
So thank you guys for jumping in. We'll keep it here because you guys are gonna make me you're taking me to a dark place here with this Tyson Chandler stuff. Yeah, man. So everybody get ready for the the post game show on Sim Show. That's nothing but Knicks with Simeon Russell. These guys to this way. Which way is it? That way? On this side of the screen, they're gonna be there too, man. I'm gonna try my best to get there so I can get in the conversation too.
Yeah, so, definitely.
Yeah, man. So thanks again, guys, and see you guys on the next one, right?
All right.
Always. Love.
Peace.
Your black time.